So it's great to be with you again today. I'm Ralitza Spassova, and I am a transformational coach. After graduating medical school, I went on a search for myself, for what made my soul happy, for what lit me up, and what really, really, truly felt like this is what I'm meant to be doing. And I absolutely love it. So transformational coaching is what I found. Synchronistically, I was offered a position to work for Doctors of BC. At the time, it was with BCH, but to be a quality improvement coach in healthcare, which was my specialty that I came from, which is great. So now I serve at Doctors of BC to do quality improvement work with physicians, teams, and to just try to support the healthcare system, which is part of my calling and my purpose, I know. But the other one is really tapping into people's truth and their potential. So I want to speak a little bit on that today. And we'll be talking about tapping into satisfaction and bringing more satisfaction into our lives. We've already had 2 days of talking about satisfaction. And before we dive into day 3, I just want to acknowledge that I am so grateful to be calling in from the unceded territories of the Coquitlam First Nations. And I'm a settler on this land, and we do territory acknowledgements in Vancouver. It's part of my work at Doctors of BC. My transformational coaching is totally separate from that, but it's something that I deeply believe in, and I'm so grateful to be here. And I'm also actively learning and working towards truth and reconciliation. The most important thing for me is to ask, how can I help? Instead of assuming that I know how I can help. And I think that's one of the biggest, greatest lessons that I've learned, that I keep learning. And I'm just so, so grateful to be here to support how I can. And so if you know of something that I can do or not do that's more supportive, please let me know. I'm always, always open to learning. And if you want to know more, you can just search it online. If you're in North America, Great Turtle Island, you are on Indigenous territories. And so giving that gratitude, giving that acknowledgement, and just knowing that this is territory that is not originally ours. And it's not just about the land, it's about the territory, the air, the water, the animals, everything is included in that. So I want to apologize for not doing the land acknowledgement. It's something that's so important to me. And somehow I was so nervous and so worked up about doing these lives for the last 2 days. And it's not excusable. So I just want to ask for forgiveness, and also just to celebrate that this is something that I want to carry in everything that I do. And it's so important to me. And I hope it's important to you too. So thank you. So today we're going to dive into number 3 of the 5 ways to satisfaction. So today we're talking about the balance of the divine feminine and divine masculine energies. And the reason this is so important is because it's very often misunderstood. A lot of people hear feminine and masculine, and right away they're in attack mode about you're talking about men and women and gender roles and all these things, and that is absolutely not what we're talking about here. So when we talk about feminine and masculine energies, or embodiment of feminine and masculine energies, we're talking about the energy with which we do things. So as I wrote here, I'm just going to read straight from the article, because you can go back to that article and read everything in it. But it says, embrace and embody your divine masculine and feminine qualities and energies. So I said this is probably a kicker and may cause some disgruntled opinions. We all have feminine and masculine energies. And the problem is that in the Western world, the toxic masculine has become dominating in the playing field for far too long. So that's in relationships, that's in workplaces. I don't know how many times I've heard people say, I am so much in my masculine, I don't even feel like a woman anymore. Most women I know that are either stay-at-home moms, working moms, both moms, women who are not moms, women all over, we've been trained. I think the industrial era really trained everyone to be in this masculine strategic overdrive. And so we're sort of coming out of that. Some people call it colonialism and effective colonialism. So I just want to also presence that it has been taken away. The energy has been taken away from Mother Earth and has swung towards this like controlling presence. And so I think it's really important to recognize that feminine and masculine energies have been around before humans were around. It has nothing to do with necessarily humans or gender, but really the energy and essence with which things are done. So I just want to continue on here just for a few more sentences. But a toxic masculine drives insecurity, acting out of scarcity, fear-mongering, and the list goes on. So a divine masculine presence supports planning, reasoning, logic, and strategy, just to name a few. And the divine feminine presence supports healing, nurturing, presence, really slowing down and being present, being, compassion, flexibility, and so on. So that's the divine duality that we all possess. And again, I'm going to say it many, many times just to help this land. It has nothing to do with gender identity or sexual orientation, but these are just energies that exist within us. And it's really, really important to balance these energies. So when they are toxic, masculinity can show up as aggression, as dominance, violence, superiority, and the need or desire to prove oneself or control. Some of the examples of toxic femininity and how they can be expressed are judgment, shame, sacrifice, being passive or submissive, mentally, emotionally, sexually. So many of these toxic masculine and feminine traits have been celebrated in our society, and they're passed down through generations. Through observation, children learn through neural mirroring. They literally see something and their brain codes it as this is what we should do, this is what we are doing, this is part of our life. That's why as we get older, a lot of times we start to become more like our parents. It's those habits that have been coded in our minds through neural mirroring what we've actually seen. Even if our parents tell us don't do that, we always do what they do because that's just the nature of the way that the brain works. It also works in really positive ways in this way. You can train the brain to do sports activities or learn music or learn different things through neural mirroring. So it's a beautiful capacity that the brain has. But we tend to have picked up unhealthy habits by neural mirroring. I hope you can hear me okay. I just realized my microphone's pretty far away. So the reason that we're coming back and we're coming back into balance is because we can use this knowledge of the way that our brain works and really, instead of copying things that are maybe toxic or not great habits that we can see in our parents and in our loved ones. And I was thinking about this earlier when we talk about emotional intelligence with children and with parents and with sports, and even when I taught grade school and we had parent-teacher meetings, sometimes these topics come up about, oh, the child wants to be this, but then the parents come in with their being realistic and tell them how they can't be whatever they want to be. And to be very honest, those are just limiting stories of the parents. And so it takes away a lot of that vision and a lot of that capacity to really manifest and to believe in what we have faith that we're meant to do. And so out of those toxic stories, again, we're coded, our brains are coded by what we hear all the time, by what we see all the time. Those stories are passed on, and a lot of those stories are actually in our society. And they're all mostly based on insecurities and based on experiences. Maybe one person had an experience where they tried something and it didn't work, and they stopped trying and they called it a failure and they said, this is never possible. And then that story got passed on. So I just want to normalize that all of us have these unconscious beliefs that can keep us stuck. And a lot of them come from the toxic masculine and feminine energies and how we express those energies in our world. And so today, I just want to remind you that these things are within us and we have a choice, and we have a choice to decide how we are going to express ourselves. as soon as we have that awareness, as soon as we can step back and say, oh, okay, this is how I'm acting. It's not me. It's a pattern or a habit or a belief that I've picked up. And now from this place of awareness and stepping back, you're no longer the habit. You are observing the habit. And this is where you can take an empowered choice and aligned action to say, okay, I have this belief. You can start to question the belief. Questioning beliefs is one of the most important things that we can do as humans, conscious humans that have a neocortex. We talked about this last time. So the reptilian brain is the brainstem. It's there for survival, breathing. That's it, basically. The next part is the mammalian brain, and the part after, which humans have, is the neomammalian brain. So when we're in that fight or flight response, when we're in that stress response, we don't have access to our higher order functions, to our emotions, to our caretaking, to our critical thinking skills, to our philosophy skills, to our ability to question. And so day one was about slowing down and really getting into ourselves and into the moment and into presence. So that's embodying more of that feminine energy of presence. And from that place, we can choose more divine masculine energies of strategy and planning and all of those things too. But if we're constantly in a rush, if we're in this toxic drive for superiority, or we're in this toxic drive to achieve, but we're not slowing down to be present, our lives pass and we look back and we're like, what happened? I achieved so many things, but like, I never felt it. It never sat with me. I never felt good about it. So if this is something that you've been living out of, you're not alone. I was definitely there 2 years ago and for pretty much my whole life before that. And what helped me was to slow down. It was to definitely receive coaching. I still receive coaching once a week to question my beliefs, to call in those limitations, to really integrate and have those really honorable, loving conversations and relationship with my ego, so that I don't feel like I'm fighting against myself all the time. And so that brings into capacity our divine masculine and our divine feminine energies. So yesterday we talked a little bit about the infinity sign and the balance, and the giving and receiving. I feel that the feminine and the masculine energies are exactly the same. We swing from one to the other. And, you know, my mentor coach, Alyssa Nobriga, she mentions it as this, like, we can't just be like doing all the time. And we can't just be being all the time. It's a really beautiful dance between, it's like do, be, do, be, do, be, do. So I love the way she says that. And I would highly recommend you check out her social media just to find out more. She talks about this masculine and feminine energy so beautifully. I'm not doing it justice. I highly recommend you take a look at her reels as well and of her content. And if you feel called to coaching, the Institute for Coaching Mastery is the best, the absolute best on the market for any kind of coaching program. Because then this is not a sales pitch. This is just what I genuinely, truly believe. I've met so many different coaches from different programs. And I've actually done another program as well. And it was an amazing program. It just didn't go quite as deep. I'm very aware of the spiritual part of our existence, and being in medicine, being in that really like masculine place, I felt like the spirit was like neglected, ignored, rejected a lot of times. And so for me personally, I really needed a study, and it's scientifically based. Everything she teaches is scientifically based. She's a psychotherapist. She has 2 master's degrees. Spiritual psychology is one of them. And so she speaks on every single coaching tool that she teaches from a scientific perspective, and there's evidence, all evidence-based, which like I love. The nerd inside of me, the scientist inside of me. That was the one thing I just so appreciated from this program, is that it's sort of like medicine, but for spirituality. And it's just, it's everything. So I can't say more good things about it. So if you're thinking about being a coach, or if you're even wanting to learn more about coaching and receive coaching for a whole year, that's what the Mastery program is. You learn coaching skills and tools, you apply them. And then there's also a business section if coaching is something that you want to do. So I would highly, highly recommend it. And then again, this is not a sales conversation. I just really believe in it. And I am a certified mastery method certified coach. So I use all those tools with my clients and we get deep transformation. It's not like yo-yo dieting where you go on a diet and then 3 months after you're off the diet and you gain back the weight and you gain back even more. We go to the core and to the root of why are you even emotionally eating in the first place? Let's talk to that part of you. Let's bring it out. Let's love up on it. Let's be compassionate with it. And let's move forward in an aligned way that actually works. So that is the reason it causes such deep transformation, is it goes right to the root. And so I can keep going about this, but day 3 was all about the balance of the masculine and the feminine energies. And my life is truly, truly beautiful and synchronistic. And it is no coincidence that today it happens to be Wednesday, and I'm really balancing my feminine energy and my masculine energy today. So I've been working, and then I went for a laser appointment, and then I came back and worked, and then I went for a massage, and then I took a bath, and I was just like in my body. And I heard from my body finally. It was funny because, like, for the people who are on the call who are the mastery method coaches, you already know we all coach ourselves in these moments where we slow down. And so I caught myself while I was getting a massage coaching myself through certain contractions and breathing into it and hearing the story and allowing it to be there and meeting it with compassion. I haven't done compassionate self-forgiveness, so I'll do that on my way. But just meeting it. And then when I was sitting in the bathtub, I went back into my body somatically and just breathed into that space. And what I heard was like, I'm finally safe. Like, I can release, I can let go. I don't have to be scared anymore. No one's going to hurt me. Like, you've got my back. You've got me this time. Like, I know I'm safe. And it just felt so amazing. And it's been something that I've been working on for quite some time. And so I just feel so good today. So I just wanted to share that. And I'm also off to dance lessons, which I've been wanting to take for so long and I keep putting it off. So I'm actually going to go. I already have my heels on, my hair is done, and I am off to dance lessons. So I just want to inspire you today. If you've had judgments around feminine and masculine, and all of these things are very heated topics, and they're topics of debate many, many, many times. But look into it. Just with curiosity, poke around and see how you are living your life. Are you living out of a toxic or a divine space? You don't even have to label it as feminine and masculine. If that's really triggering for you, or if you don't like that, that's okay. But just notice the energy with which you live. Is it coming from a place where it feels really good in your body and it feels light and expansive and beautiful and it makes you feel good and it has emotions of like happiness, joy, peace, bliss, any of those higher frequency emotions? Or is it associated with contractions in your physical body? That's usually when we're out of alignment. We get contractions in our body. Does it cause you to feel heavy? Does it cause you to have a tightness in your chest or maybe in your gut? Does it make you feel sick to your stomach or really not feel good? There's so many ways that we can assess how we're showing up in life. And we don't have to label it as masculine and feminine. If that's something that doesn't land well for you or it's not receptive, that's okay. But just being more aware of the choices that you make. So this is another thing I want to mention before I go. I heard earlier today, I don't have a choice. Like, yeah, I have to work. I don't have a choice. And I said, whoa. Can I poke around a little bit with permission? And it was basically like, is it true that you don't have a choice? Is it true that you have to go to this one specific job? Or are you choosing to go to that job because you want to be a homeowner and because you want to provide for your kids? And that's a beautiful opportunity that you have taken to be able to do this. Is it true that you can't just sell your house, quit, and be free and use all of that money, millions of dollars in BC, and go travel the world for the rest of your life? Is it not true that you have a choice? Is it the most aligned choice for you? Maybe not, but you have a choice. You've chosen this job. You've chosen to own a home. You've chosen to provide for your family. You've chosen to want to pass something on. Those are all choices. Because from the place of making a choice, you can now feel good about your work. The work that I do is providing for my family. It's paying for the home. It's paying for the food. I am so proud that I'm able-bodied, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm able to work my 9 to 5. I'm able to run around and take on 30 tasks in a day, right? Some people are not able. And so from that choice, it's very empowering. You bring your power back to yourself and you can make more empowered choices. But if you're living that victim mentality of, I don't have a choice, life's not fun at all. And it's really hard to appreciate all the different opportunities that we have if we're living from that very limited victim mentality. And I used to live from that limited mentality. That's why I can call it out so quickly and so easily, because it is so common in my culture. It's so common in just our generation. And so just recognizing and like questioning those beliefs is so important. But today was about balance, and today was about energy and the way that we show up in the world. And so when we show up from that energetically sound place, that place that feels good on us, in us, projecting outside of us, that's where we can feel more satisfaction. We bring our power back. We make choices to show up how it feels good and aligned. And from that place, we can feel more satisfaction. And that's not even to mention like physically embodying more satisfaction, actually being present in our bodies during these activities, while we're dancing, while we're singing, while we're in the bathtub. That was one of my biggest struggles, is being present in the bathtub. It's my favorite place to be. But I used to get so squirmy after a few minutes of slowing down, and I used to like run out of the tub to go be productive again. It was terrible. When I started this whole transformation of my own, it was not easy. So I just want to normalize that if sitting still is hard for you, that's okay. It's a practice like anything else, and you will get used to it. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to message me. I would love to hear from you. I would love to support you. If that feels called for you, you can schedule a free discovery and clarity calls online on my website, RalitzaSpassova.com. And yeah, I hope that you're able to take these tips, tricks, hints, whatever you want to call them, these 5 ways of feeling more satisfied into your life, so that you can make choices and decisions out of an aligned place and really embody that gratitude, that appreciation for everything that you have and that you are. And you can show up more powerfully in your relationships, in your workplace. You can make choices about what kind of work you want to do, what kind of career you choose for yourself, and just the way that you want to live in this world. It is all a choice, and it is all up to you. And I believe that if you're watching this right now, you know that there's more to life than you've been expressing until now. So if now is the turning point, so be it. I celebrate you. I appreciate you for being here. Send you so much love.